So this is one of my curated newsletters on Beehive. You can see I started it at the very end of March actually, and then you can see we've been growing pretty consistently. But what I want to show you in this video is how I was able to put Beehive together with a separate tool that was able to make my curated newsletters 10 times easier to write. This newsletter here is curated. I go out, find great resources, and share them with my audience, saving a huge amount of time. This is a very, very popular style of newsletter, but the problem was collecting all of those resources and then being able to find them when I needed them. And the tool that I'm going to show you now is a tool you can use. It's actually free at the moment for you to use that will help you do exactly that. So this is the tool. This is ResourceX, because Beehive is great at monetization. It's great at growth. It's great at being able to write your newsletter. I write mine in AI tools and then I move it over to Beehive. But what it's not brilliant at doing is collecting all of those resources that you want to use in your newsletter, whether it's sources for long form content or whether it's a curated newsletter. And that's where ResourceX comes into play. Instead of having to use like some complicated Google sheet, you can just add resources to this as you go, as you find them. And then when it comes to actually writing your newsletter, you can schedule everything onto a calendar, and then you can just go to one place to find all of your resources. So let me show you exactly how this thing works. So for this particular example, let's imagine that we are writing a local newsletter. A local newsletter is a great first newsletter for somebody to write, and it's all curated content. You're finding events and news and things like that. So I found this particular bar here. It's got some quite cool events coming up. We've got some in May, and we've got all of these ones coming up in June as well. So I found this, and I don't want to have to get coming back to this website every single week. What I want to be able to do is curate this into one particular platform, and then I can come back to it. So for example, we've got this here, we've got the roundabout, it's June 7th. I could totally put this into my local newsletter for next week. So that's exactly what I'm going to do with ResourceX. So the first thing I do is come over here and I'm going to add the resource. Then what I'm going to do is come back and I can see that it's a roundabout terrace party. So I'm just going to click on this and I'm going to put that into the resource title. Then I want some information about it. And again, I can just take this straight from the website and put it into ResourceX. Next thing I'm going to do is put the resource type in. I can take text. So if I'm finding this sort of within a news article or something, I could take the text. If it's an image, in this case, I'm just going to take the URL directly from the website, and that's going to go in there. And now I'm collecting all of this information. Now, what you can do is you can put everything into ResourceX, and you can actually have a public calendar that people are able to see exactly what's going on, which again, if you're doing something that has events or you're doing something local, that could be really, really beneficial. But for me, I'm just going to use ResourceX in this video as a way to keep myself organized. So I'm going to click the private button. Now, what you can also do is tag these. So if it's just standard content, you don't have to do anything. So I'm just going to write about this event, for example, in a newsletter. But if it is an ad, if it's a cross promotion, if it's a sponsorship, then I can tag those within ResourceX. So when I come back to it, I actually remember what I was doing. And then the last thing we've got down here is a private note. So this is somewhere where you can put a little bit of information in addition to what you've already got. So if you're the kind of person that does want this on a public calendar, everything in this part here, the brief description, would be visible, as well as the resource title, but everything down here is just for you. So for example, if you were doing a sponsorship deal, you might put down the email address of the contact person that you are liaising with, their name, telephone number, any other details. Maybe they said get back to me in 2 months. You can write notes about that. Whatever it is, you can put those notes in here and they will appear within your account. So once I've filled everything out, all I do is hit add resource, and that has now been saved to my resource bank within ResourceX. Now what I can do is I can keep going like this. So for example, I might want to go through and just do the same thing for these particular events as well. So they're all saved in there and I've got all the information. What I'm actually going to do with this one is I know exactly when it's going to happen. So all I'm going to do is add to calendar, go over here, and I know that it's going out on the 7th, but my newsletter that I'm going to write for content for the 7th, because it's a local newsletter, I'm actually going to write it on the Wednesday. So if there was a public calendar, I'd put it on the 7th, because then everyone who can see my public calendar can see when the event is happening. What I might decide to do instead is put it on the date on which it's going to go into my newsletter. So I've got everything within one day, and I say, right, for my Thursday edition, this particular event is going to go in there. So my Thursday the 5th is the next newsletter that I'm going to do, and then I just add it to calendar. So then if I click the calendar button, I can click this one up here, I can go back to calendar. Then what I'm able to do is I'm able to see my calendar, and I can see all of the events that I've started to collect that are going to go into this particular day, which means I can click here, see everything that I want to write about, everything I've collected, and then it's just a case of taking those events, popping them into my AI tool that writes my newsletter for me. My newsletter is written in a couple of clicks, and then I can put that over into Beehive and publish my newsletter, saving myself a huge amount of time. If you want to learn more about newsletters and why they're so powerful, there's a video here on the screen for you to watch. If you want to get ResourceX, check out the link in the description, and we'll see you in the next one.